Bouncy, bouncy. Hello, hello. I'm finally back to do some crafting. I'm so excited. I just hope this all kind of goes well, because you never know. Okay, so file folder. We've got our little words here. We're going to create some tags today. I'm not sure how many we're going to do, and unfortunately, because it's Sunday and we're having quite a big meal, I cannot use the sewing machine. So either later tonight or tomorrow afternoon, I will be doing the sewing part of this, but I will upload this part before. I won't leave it until, because I'm already so far behind. It's just been kind of one rubbishy thing after another recently. Life, you know. Thank you again to everyone who sent me messages about getting well. Shingles, I'm telling you, that's not something I want in a hurry. And then the medication was actually as bad as the shingles. It wasn't very nice at all. So what I'm going to do is I don't usually have, I don't have a plan. I never have a plan. I just get things out and I just go with it, as you probably know by now. And I'm sorry if you know, you kind of like people to make quick decisions, but if you do, you probably don't really want to watch me. Tags. I think what I want to do is probably do something with one of these first, one of the bigger images, and kind of do, it depends. Sometimes I do all of the big tags first, and then I do some smaller tags, and then I do the little tags. Sometimes I do a big one, a smaller one, and then a tiny one. Sometimes I don't have any kind of way that I work. It just has to be whatever kind of catches my eye and takes my fancy, and it's this one at the minute. I think I'm going to do that. Right, let me get these ones out of the way. I don't know if I'm going to use these. These are, is it Harrison Fisher, I believe, and they are absolutely beautiful, but I think they work really well as a kind of, that one's not, maybe. They work kind of really well on their own. So I don't know that I'm going to use those for this project. So I'm probably going to keep this one fairly simple. I just need a back for this. Now what I do, and what I have always kind of done, is I always have bits and pieces kind of ready for projects and things, as I'm sure you all do. These are book pages that have been glued together, and what I do is I glue them with Pritt Stick usually while they're in the book. I find that a lot easier. This is kind of the right size for that. I want something fairly plain on the back of this one. I don't know if any of you guys do this. I hadn't until recently. But for the back of journaling cards, I just thought I use the images around the edge of that Edith Holden nature notes, and I just thought this is such a nice kind of back for a tag. So I've kind of kept that. It's a little bit short. Let me see if I've got a bigger one. So, how have you all been? I hope you've been better than myself. That one's quite good, isn't it? So this is a little idea for you. You know, if you've got the nature notes, cut out those middle bits so you've got some nice backings for tags. Okay, that fits on there really well, and I know it's going to fit. Let me just check. Yep, plenty small enough to go in. I usually try and put a long sleeve jumper or something on when I'm doing this, so my bracelets don't clunky clunk. I'm going to take it off because it will drive me. I don't like to take it off, but I don't want it to. Every time I do that I lose beads. Right, put that down. So of course I'm going to ink. Give this little bit of ink, just make sure everything's, yeah, just wanted to check it was actually still filming. Two things might happen in the very near future. I'm either going to have a lot more time to create, well, I'm definitely going to, for a period of time, have a lot more time to create and produce videos if you want to continue watching. Probably be a lot more process stuff, just me turning the camera on when I'm doing something. Or I'm going to have no time at all, and unfortunately I will not be able to have much of a presence at all, because I'm going to be leaving my kind of employment part-time. It's all very sad, but you know, these things happen. So I don't know whether I'm going to be able to continue, whether I'm going to be able to kind of find something else temporarily, or whether I'm going to have to go back into a full-time job. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Now, this doesn't actually fit very well on here in terms of how straight it is. Everything looks straight, the writing looks straight, the image looks straight, but when you pop it on, it actually isn't. So what I'm going to do is, rather than trim and then everything being too small, is I'm going to pop something underneath the image but on top of this. What could actually I might do something different to that. What I'll do is I'll line the image up with that particular row of text so it will look straight. Kind of, won't it? Yeah. And then I'm going to hang something at the bottom. I'll do something at the bottom of that. I'm just going to grab a baby wipe before I go any further, because I know I'm going to make a mess. Right, so I've used a whole bottle of Fabri-Tac since my last video. Whole bottle. That's crazy, isn't it? It's amazing how much of this stuff I use. I absolutely love this glue, and I know it's for fabric, but I use it for paper because it's reliable. It dries really well in terms of being able to put it through your sewing machine. Ah! Sorry. Oh, I did scream a bit like a girl then, didn't I? Yeah, once it's dry, you can put it through your sewing machine. It dries nice and quick. It doesn't wrinkle. It gives you a really nice kind of finish. So I love this stuff. And like I said, I'm going to line it up. Line it up with that. Now I've got it way off centre. Well, this is not going particularly. I'm so tired. I've been up and working by 4:30 every day for the last, I don't know, 3-4 days. That's just because I shuffled that around quite a few times. Okay, that's not exactly square. That is really going to bug me. I'm so sorry, I cannot leave it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just looking at the edge of the image, and I'm lining that up with this side of my paper cutter, which I have repaired. Whew. Relief. That one is okay. And that's just to square off this underneath layer. And I've got a new blade for it, which has also helped. Now this one is going to be a little bit more difficult because we don't have a lot to play with. I'm just going to try and get this as square as I can. This one's not such a problem because I'm going to put something on the bottom there. So there we go. We have that first one mounted, which I am happy with. And because there's going to be quite a lot packed into this file folder, I don't want anything really thick. We've also got the little booklet we made in there, so that's already quite thick. The other thing I want to say is I apologise if while I was sick I didn't actually reply to a message you left on YouTube. I have acknowledged every single message, but I think there were a few on a couple of days that I didn't actually acknowledge because I was too poorly to do so. That one's a bit big, isn't it? I like that one. That's quite nice. It is very, very bright, which we're going to have to do something about. So yeah, I apologise if I didn't reply to a message you may have left me, but like I said, I did acknowledge every message, and it is actually I love reading all of your messages, but it's getting a little bit difficult to leave long messages back. Obviously, if you're taking the time to leave me a lovely message, that always makes me smile and makes me happy. So I want to make sure I'm replying to every single message I get. But some days, if I am very short of time, then it might not be a really long reply, and I apologise for that. But please know that I am grateful and thinking of you, and really do appreciate every single message. I do love reading them. I think we're going to have it there. Although it does kind of cover up her dress. It's obviously a wedding dress, isn't it? Am I worried about that? I don't think I am. I don't think I'm worried about covering up the wedding dress. Now, can I get a thin bead of glue out of this fabric tack? That's the next question. So I'm just picking the nasty bit off the the tip, that horrible bit that you get. You know, I know you do. Unless you don't use fabric tack, and then you probably don't know. I'm still a bit shaky. It's very difficult for me to do anything in a straight line. Obviously I'll try and drive in a straight line, although I haven't done any driving really for a while now. There we go. I like it, like it, like it. So just make sure that's... I always turn it over to have a look and see how much trim is hanging off the back to make sure it's even. Yeah, what was I saying about the messages? Yeah, like I said, I do try really hard. I think we want something else on here. These are they're 2 pieces of music paper that I again glued together to make some music tags. They're not inked or anything yet. I wonder, let's have a little look. I don't really use punches a whole lot, but I was watching Jessica Rapp. Awesome, absolutely awesome. Oh, that just jumped out there. And she was using punches, and I just thought I really should start to use some of my punches, because I just don't. I used to at the beginning. It was like, oh, I've got a new punch, and I'd put it on everything, and then they get put away, and then it's either too much effort to get them out, or you actually forget you've got them. Do you do that? I think it was it Junk Journal Junkies? There was a question posted on there to say, how often do you clean your craft room? And I was a bit sad, because I work in my dining room. I have a desk in a little recess, and I work here, and I don't really have the opportunity to leave a mess, because this is our dining room, and I don't know, call me a bit old-fashioned. I know not a lot of people do anymore, but the one time my kids are not allowed to stay in their bedroom or disappear is at meal times. So I kind of, you know, we do all eat together. I like that. So I make them come down and eat, and they're happy to. They, you know, they like to tell me about their day. They talk about school, and they talk about Xbox and stuff, what they've been doing. We have a laugh when we're, I think I'm going to use a little bit of, I just think that gives it a little bit more music-y kind of theme. Actually, we've been waiting for this storm. I don't know if I said in the last video. We've got a severe weather warning, and we've had it. It was supposed to be from midnight last night, or this morning, until I think it's lunchtime tomorrow. This severe weather warning, where we're supposed to have thunder, lightning, and some possible flooding. Well, it's been sunny and hot and really humid today, so it kind of feels like we might have a storm, but it's just kind of crazy atmosphere. It feels really, really odd. So we've got the window, well, we did have the windows open because it was warm, but my next door neighbour has, I think she has her grandchildren round, so had to shut the windows, and now I'm cooking, which is another reason I didn't put a jumper on, to cover up my bangles and stop all the rattling. There we go. So this one I will not sew. This one I'm going to leave as it is. I will ink the back. We don't need to, I think this is a really nice little place for journaling, making notes, making a list, so I think this works really well. I'm not going to put on any paper on the back here, because this is a perfect journaling space, which is why I cut all of those pages out. I did 1.5 books, I've got half a book left to go. And I have an envelope full of the pretty little images at the corner, because they just look amazing when you put them on a little journaling page on the corner as a little collage, or just as a little embellishment. I love doing that. So, is there anything else? I've got probably a million things to tell you, although I didn't have a very exciting week or two, because I spent most of it kind of working on my own, maybe for 10-15 minutes, and then I was so tired I had to go and lay down for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'd do a little bit more, and then I'd go and lay down again, then fall asleep, and then I'd wake up and realise the kids will be home from school and probably want feeding, and then I'd do that, and then I was just absolutely exhausted again. And it's painful too, shingles. It's horrible. Okay, what do you think? Tag number 1. I like it. I like that a lot. Right, so quite like to do something on a music paper tag, I think, next. That's a little bit big. So we might go and do got some teeny weeny ones. We've used this, haven't we? What have we used that for? I think we've used a bigger version of it. Oh, I've got 2 of those. Well, how did I get 2? That's a bit too big. Did we use children? It's now difficult to remember what we've done because it's been so long. So we've got 2 children there. We've got the lady there. This was popped inside, and I actually really like it on the little book too. I'm not a frilly, dangly, lacy kind of person usually, but these images just seem to work with it, don't you think? But I'm still thinking about on the front, but I really like that on the book too. So that's something we'll have to think about. So this particular one needs a little bit of a trim. I haven't replied yet, but I've read an awesome comment that someone left me today about scissors. I found some new ones that came with my sewing machine, and I'd stashed them away and didn't realise. yeah, someone left me an awesome comment to say turn over a mug and run the blades of your scissors down the bottom of a mug, and that actually sharpens your scissors. So that's brilliant. I'm going to try that. And whoever left that message, I didn't see. It just pops up in the corner, and I quickly read it and thought that's absolutely genius. Genius idea. So, well, it is a genius idea if it works. So we'll give that a go. It's like anything, isn't it? Genius. Yeah, Leslie, the lovely Leslie Jones, and her heart-shaped paperclip. I will absolutely show you how I did those. They are very, very fiddly, and Leslie did a brilliant job on her tutorial. I can't tell you that I'm going to do quite as good a job, because, you know, it's different when you're on your own and you can have your head over what you're doing. But when you're trying to bend a paperclip in a very fiddly way, because it is a very fiddly way, it's probably not going to be attractive. But I will do it, especially when you need to get, as Leslie called them, the legs the right way round. Just a little bit. Okay, so this particular tag, I've got a bit of a plan, I think, looking at this. Do I want a word on here? Oh, maybe I do. Yeah, okay. What I would like to do is I'm going to show you my little trick. It's not anything, you know, genius or anything, but it's just something that I do. This is going to be a pocket, this particular image, I think. So I would like to have some cheesecloth behind this. Yep. This one I will sew, but I'll do the sewing in the next video. Because sewing is, again, something that I'm not a seamstress or a quilter, or, you know, I used to make some curtains and the odd tablecloth, anything that had a straight line, and I would you know, I would have a go. Wouldn't say it was perfect, but it would last as long as I wanted it before I got bored, whatever I made. So, you know, that was okay. But please, you know, I'm not fantastic at sewing. I think I told you my sewing machine's got, like, I don't know, 500 stitches and I used 2. So that was not a waste of money at all. But I've got it now, and I always will have, and I do keep saying I'm going to practice, and I'm going to have a lot of time to practice soon, so that might be cool. Okay, so when you use this as a pocket, and it's got cheesecloth behind the image, what happens is sometimes when you try and pop your image in, the cheesecloth will get a bit bleh. So what I do is, I don't want anything too thick. Let's see what I've got here. This will be fine. I take a little scrap of paper, and it just has to be almost as wide as your pocket is going to be, and this works on bigger pockets too. It just stops you catching your tag on that initial bit of cheesecloth, and I'm just going to pop that along the very edge at the top. And that just stops you catching the cheesecloth as you pop your tag in and out. Once it's in, it's actually easy. It's just that initial bit. Obviously you still have to be careful with the little bit that's floating at the top. Now I'm not going to stick this down for a minute or two. Oh, did I just get glue on the front? No. I'm not going to stick that down for a minute or two because this is a bit tacky and I don't want it to stick to the tag. So while that's drying, I'm going to make a teeny tag to go inside there. So I'm just going to find some scrap card, which I usually have a ton of it. Oh, I can use this. This will make a cute tag and it will go. I've just got this punch. I think I actually got this from my mum, because my mum she makes cards and folded books and things, and she doesn't make cards as much anymore, so she gave me a load of her stuff. It's woodware craft collection, but it is a fab punch, and this is, like I said, one of those things that you kind of forget you have, and then you find it and then you use it all the time because it's exciting. It's exciting to find it and have it, and it feels like something new. Is that just me who does that? Maybe it's because I don't actually have a bucket load of stuff. Like I said, those of you that live in the UK will know what terraced house is, and I live in a little terraced house. It's a very kind of typical terraced house, little, and like I said, I'm in my recess. I'm put in the corner, and I have a cupboard in the dining room, and I have a very small kind of map drawer unit that my dad gave to me, and I use that for my craft stuff. I do spread out a little bit, you know. I'll have some on the coffee table, and I occasionally use the dining table and things like that, but I don't have room. I wish I did. You're going to think I'm really sad now. Okay. This is vintage thread that was used to bind a book, and when I take books apart, I keep the thread in a little jar because it's old, and who doesn't want to keep the thread from an old book they've taken apart? Can't be just me. There must be someone else out there who's the same. Please tell me there is. Anyway, you'll all be doing it now anyway, won't you? Because it's a cool idea. It's vintage thread, and it's little, and it just is strong, and it looks good. It's all old looking. I'm going to put something a bit different on here. So that is going to be our little pocket. I'm not going to put a hole in the top, but this will be, our tag will kind of go in there. I want to put something on here. I'm just going to grab something. This is a cool idea. You might like this. I could have done this as a little project actually. I decorated the top of this. It's supposed to be for photos. I don't know if any of you have ever seen these before, where you've got the dangly things. I picked this up at a charity shop, and I thought, that's cool. That's a cool stamp. I'm going to use that one. Oh, I've got several of those, so that's quite good. Yeah, basically, I keep stamps in it. I think there are a few missing, but I've got such a lot of stamps at the back that I haven't taken off the cardboard yet, and I've still got 2 of these that I haven't filled. How cool is that though? So you can turn it this way, and it's like a little book with all your stamps in. And what should have been the photos at the top, I've just done a decoupage kind of collage with just stuff, really. You see? So that's pretty cool. I thought I'd show you that. So I'm going to use this little stamp. I'm going to just sit down again. Give me a second. Right. And I can't actually tell how long I've recorded for, so it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? Hit and miss. Do I just keep going and then at 30 minutes it cuts you off? Or it actually cuts off at 27 minutes. I'm a bit concerned that one day I won't hear it stop. I'm not sure if I want cheesecloth on that, but I do want something under the stamp. I'm going to go for muslin. Just make sure I get enough. I don't know if I've actually finished any of the conversation I've started. I told you about my little dining room. I'm having a lot of trouble at the moment with my